What's up, humans, and welcome to a third Psicoactivo today. Because something happened, and I want to share it with you. Besides the video that I want to do, I got an email from one of you, the followers, Andreas Wasserfer. I think I pronounced it okay. He's from Germany, and there was one video, or maybe a couple, where I was wearing an Argentina jersey from the World Cup, the 2022 World Cup. And if you guys don't know your sports, in 2014, they faced Germany in the final and lost with a Mario Götze goal. And I don't know, maybe that rivalry from Germans to Argentinians uh, is older than that because they faced each other many times. But the people that remember this is like way more fresh in the memory. So Andreas saw me wearing that, and he sent me a comment asking me if I had any Germany jerseys, and I don't. So he decided to send me one, and it just arrived. And I'm sorry, Andreas, but I can't really understand a lot of what you wrote to me. But he wrote a really nice letter. Um, it's really humbling. I want to thank you for that. You sent me that jersey, but you also sent me this really nice hoodie. Team disclosure. I'm guessing this is a company of yours or something like that. So check it out, guys. And here's the big reveal. Um, this is really awesome. Here's a Germany jersey that I will be wearing in many of my videos. Thank you, Andreas, for this. It just arrived, so you can relax now. I know you've been sending me emails. It's here, brother. Thank you. All right, so let's continue with the video. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mr. Ian Carroll, but he is an influencer who started on TikTok, talking about pretty much every conspiracy theory you can think of. And he's been doing really deep research in all of those topics. And I found it really interesting that he wasn't always very open about UFOs. He has covered it a couple times, but he's never like really done a major video where he does a deep dive into it. I'm thinking because he knows how dangerous it can be for like attacks and harassment and all that stuff. Although he has a really major platform, I don't know. I'm guessing it can be really annoying having trolls all the time and all that stuff, because he gets also pretty confrontational with all the other topics that he covers. So he needs to like cover his back a lot. So Ian Carroll was just on Joe Rogan. And boy, oh boy, did they talk about UFOs. One could say they even waxed poetic about UFOs, and I find it really interesting. I wasn't expecting for Ian Carroll to have such a nuanced and balanced opinion about what might be going on. He never says that he knows for sure something's going on, but he has a pretty decent idea of what the most important points are in this UFO topic. He even asked Joe, where do you want us to start on what the UFO phenomenon is? That's the best answer to Joe's question because that's the way we should be all tackling it. And yeah, I agree with both of them. This is a really, really interesting topic. To me, the most interesting one of all because it does link everything and encompasses pretty much everything on every walk of life that there is. They also spoke about Jacques Vallée and all the reports he did when he was younger about UFOs that are shaped like eggs. Just another proof, an example that this egg UFO is not uncommon at all. It's been reported for decades now. And the best part that I think came out of this exchange was when Ian Carroll spoke about remote viewing and how real he believes it is, how much money the CIA has spent talking about this topic, and how these psi abilities have been weaponized, which is one of the topics that I cover the most here. How have they been weaponized and what type of psi abilities we may or may not have? Let me show you the clips where Ian Carroll speaks to Joe Rogan about UFOs, remote viewing, and Jacques Vallée's studies on egg-shaped UFOs. Here it is.
Okay, what do you think is going on with the whole UAP thing?
Dude, I love this fucking conversation.
I love this fucking
conversation. It's the most interesting.
I never get tired of it.
Do you want to go the angle of like, what are the crafts, or do you want to go the bigger angle of like, what is the phenomenon?
Okay, let's start with what is the phenomenon.
I think that right now, science and religion and UAP exposure are all converging on similar truths. And what I mean by that is that science, so you know the science of consciousness, how we don't really know where the fuck consciousness comes from?
Right.
But there's a lot of people that start to suggest that it sounds like we're antenna that are receiving consciousness from some sort of consciousness field or some sort of other, like...
Have you read any Thomas Campbell?
No, I don't think so.
You should read the Big Toe, Theory of Everything. It's very bizarre stuff. Very hard to swallow. You got to go back and listen to it multiple times. Or
I like
read
that
it
kind of shit.
Times. I had him on the podcast, and at the end of it, I was like, we got to stop here. And I have to think about everything you said, and then we'll bring you back, and we'll go deeper. Because he wanted to keep going and go deeper and deeper. Like, he's been living in these realms.
It goes and goes, dude. Because you're talking metaphysics, you're talking physics, you're talking
multiverse,
like, history and like disclosure about history and dimension. And like, I suspect that whatever consciousness is coming from is this multiverse, this consciousness field, this ether, this multidimensional thing, whatever. I suspect that's very similar to what UAPs are traversing in and out of and through. And I suspect that's very similar to what we identify as either the gods plural, the aliens plural that have these abilities we don't have,
angels,
as well as God singular, which is probably the highest up above all of those things. I suspect there's a version of all these things that are starting to converge on one truth. Because when you learn about remote viewing, that's what really cracked it for me, was learning how much money the CIA has invested in remote viewing over the years. The CIA is not spending millions and millions of dollars on some crackpot bullshit that's not going to work. They would for a little while, but they've been doing it and doing it and doing it. And now we've got disclosure from people that are coming out whistleblowing that they are doing it today, and I'm in the program, and this is how we did it.
Have you listened to the telepathy tapes?
I've listened to a little bit of them. I've not listened all the way through.
I had Kai Dickens on the podcast the other day, and she explained the whole thing. Like, provable. Hours and hours and hours of nonverbal autistic kids who have telepathy. Provable telepathy. Undeniable.
It's crazy,
100%
dude.
Accuracy. Wild.
Yeah. And
Wild
I suspect
stuff.
that all of that is, and there's a weaponization of it. There's I mean, it's not just public study of it. There's definitely been private study of it by the intelligence agencies and probably the weapons developers for a long time.
Jacques Vallée's work is that Jacques Vallée has been documenting this stuff, again, it's like since I think the 50s or the 60s is when he started, but he's also documented historical stories. And the historical stories
You mean like from before modern times?
Like 1700s, 1800s, and these stories are the same story. They're the same story when people never heard of them. Not only that, in the 70s, he's documenting this woman that in California found an egg-shaped craft in her yard. Like she tells this story about confronting this being. There's an egg-shaped craft. These fucking egg-shaped crafts, all described by people who don't know that someone else has described this story.
And no one would ever choose an egg shape when they're describing an aircraft.
Right.
Especially back then.
And it's also all telepathic communication. It's all like weird moments.
Same stories.
Lapse of time, memories confused. You feel like your brain's been erased, don't know what's going on. You find yourself in a field. How did I get here? There's a lot of weird shit that's like the same story over and over and over again. Too much so that you get, first of all, clearly when you're dealing with things in the 17 and 1800s, it's not modern propaganda. It's not the government. They're not covering up drones in the 1700s. So why are these people selling? Why are these stories in the fucking Bhagavad Gita?
I mean, you could.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? I definitely wasn't expecting for Ian Carroll and Joe Rogan to talk like this about the topic. There are some times when I see Joe getting a little like disenchanted by the whole circus around the topic. But right now with Ian, he seemed really excited about it. So that was interesting to see. They also mentioned why they think that Elon Musk doesn't like come clean on what he knows. There's no way that someone with a high level of clearance can talk about the topic so openly. But I also happen to think that Elon doesn't really have a need to know. I don't think so. So that's why he probably genuinely doesn't know. But I don't know what you guys think. Maybe his connection to Tim Taylor says otherwise. I don't know. It's possible. Let me know what you guys think about that. And what do you guys think about Ian Carroll's appearance on Joe Rogan and what he said about UFOs? Did you expect him to be this knowledgeable? Let me know in the comments and we'll talk about it. I'll be reading comments and responding to as many as I can. Thank you. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can get notified when new video drops. If you want to support the channel in any other way, I'm going to leave a few links in the description. Take your pick. Thank you for your support. You can also find us on the members channel here on YouTube, and you can also find us on the KGRA website. All the interviews are going to be there. Thank you. Thank you also to Andreas Wasserfur. Sorry, I butchered that. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. And if you can, Andreas, if you remember what you wrote to me or along the lines, I would really love it if you could like write what you wrote here so I can understand it, because there's some words that I did, but your handwriting is really hard to make out. I'm sorry. Are you a doctor by any chance? I'm kidding. But thank you, man. Thank you so much for this. This is the first time anybody has ever done something like this for me. Somebody that I don't know personally. So I really, really appreciate it, man. And remember, guys, stay curious. Bye.